Welcome to NEXTGames, a guide to ninja series. In this episode, we will cover ninja job traits and abilities. First, we are going to go over job traits that help a ninja's DPS. The first trait I want to go over is one of ninja's best, dual wield. Dual wield reduces the combined delay of your katanas. Ninja gets 5 tiers of this trait at level 10, level 25, 45, 65, and then at 85 they get a final bonus of 35%. This is one of the best ways to increase your overall damage, but this trait also reduces the amount of TP you get per swing by the same amount you have lowered your delay by. By comparison, when you are under the effects of haste, your TP gain is not lowered by the lowered weapon delay, so this means that you want to get as much haste as you can without gear and spells, and then add only as much dual wield gear as you need to reach the cap. If you simply have the usual 25% haste from your gear, this means you will need 39 dual wield through your gear to reach the haste dual wield cap. If you have the usual 25% haste from gear, plus haste 2 from a trust or a red mage, you now only need 21 dual wield through gear to reach the cap. If you have the usual 25% haste from gear, as well as the cap 43.75% haste from magic, such as when you have haste 2 and victory march, then you only need 1 dual wield to reach the cap and don't really need to worry about adding any dual wield gear to this setup. A job trait not spoken of often is Dakin. This may be because it wasn't added until late 2014, but next to dual wield, it is easily ninja's best TP gain ability. Dakin is a trait that has the ninja automatically throw a shuriken when attacking. Dakin has 5 tiers achieved at level 25, 40, 55, 70, and 95 for a total bonus of 40. This means that 40% of the time you will throw a shuriken during a standard attack round, granting you upwards of 100 TP and increasing your overall DPS due to that extra damage done. Due to this, unless it's a specific situation, you should always have a shuriken equipped on your ninja. We will discuss which shurikens to use in the gear set section later in this series. Job gifts received at the following levels also give a boost to the Dakin activation rate. At 150 job points, you get a 2% boost. At 500, you get a 3%. At 1125, you get a 4%. And at 2000 job points, you get a 5% boost, bringing the total activation total to 54%. Machitsu Chainmail plus 3 also adds an additional 10% to the activation rate, and adds 9% dual wield, which makes it an excellent TP piece. Please note, you will often not see the animation when Dakin activates, especially when wearing a multi-hit gear setup. Hachika Tenko plus 3 also adds 10% to the Dakin activation rate. However, it doesn't have very many other useful stats, so it's not really a viable option for TP. However, if all this is used together, you can achieve a 74% Dakin activation rate. The skill chain bonus job trait is achieved by ninja on levels 85 and 95. This trait increases the damage of all skill chains by 12%. The magic burst bonus job trait is achieved by ninja on levels 80 and 90. This trait increases the damage of your magic burst by 7%. You can also increase your skill chain and magic burst damage by 5% each by equipping a Mujin band before each skill chain and during each magic burst. You can further increase your magic burst bonus by getting Samnuna Coat for an additional 8% and Ochu for an additional 13%, which both add damage outside of the 40% cap. Herculean gear from Rez also can provide up to an 8% bonus on each piece. You can also use a UAC Jerkin to increase your skill chain damage by an additional 5% if skill chain damage is what is needed. The Damage Limit Plus job trait was introduced to ninja at the end of 2018. This job trait is achieved at level 50, and it does not increase your actual damage in any way, but does increase the maximum amount of damage that your hits can do. This job trait only increases it by about 3%, but you can increase it an additional 10% with the Ninja Notawa plus 2 neck when it's fully augmented, and an additional 20% with Maling's gear. This brings the total you can currently increase your cap by to 33% if all of these items are worn together. Tactical Parry is a job trait that gives you TP when you successfully parry an enemy's attack. Ninja gets 3 tiers of this at level 77, 87, and 97, which grants a final bonus of 40 TP per successful parry. You can further enhance this job trait by adding ranks of the job point bonus Tactical Parry effect. Each rank gives you a 1% chance of countering the parried attack, further increasing your DPS. You can also add a total of 20 ranks, giving you a 20% chance to counter any parried attack. Please note that unfortunately you do not get any TP from the countered attack, and this trait is not affected by store TP. Lastly, you can further increase the TP you get per successful parry by equipping Hattori Kahan +1 for an additional 20 TP per parry, though this is not recommended as these boots are otherwise not useful for gaining TP. Now let's go over a few job traits that will help Ninja be a more efficient tank. An important job trait to a ninja is Subtle Blow. Each time you strike an enemy, you give him some TP that will allow him to use an ability on you. Subtle Blow lessens the TP that the enemy will get from those hits. This is especially important to a ninja, as with Cap Dual Wield and Haste, you will be hitting the monster more often than almost everyone. Also, since you are often tanking, you will be the direct target of those abilities that the mob will be using once he has that TP. So managing this TP gain of the enemy is crucial to both soloing as a ninja and holding endgame bosses. Ninja gets 6 tiers of this ability at levels 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, and then a final bonus at 91, which brings their total Subtle Blow effect to 27. You can add an additional 5 Subtle Blow through merit points, and I strongly recommend doing this as this brings your total Subtle Blow trait to 32. Subtle Blow 1 caps at 50, so this means you need to add 18 Subtle Blow to your TP gear sets to make sure your Subtle Blow is always capped. Mayashu Ichi also can give you an additional 10 if you're needing to cap Subtle Blow. There is also a Subtle Blow 2 trait that has its own cap, so if the future holds any Subtle Blow 2 gear for Ninja, it would potentially allow us to increase the cap another 25 points. The Max Hit Points Boost job trait helps Ninja take those AoE hits that Shadows can't help with. Ninja gets 5 tiers of this job trait. They receive it at level 20, 40, 60, 80, and 99, where they get a final boost of 240 hit points total. This mixed with the 250 hit points from the Yonin merits gives the ninja a much needed additional 490 starting hit points. The next 3 traits aren't as useful for ninja, but I wanted to cover all ninja job traits, so let's discuss them briefly. The first is Ninja Tool Expertise. This job trait can be achieved by using merits. Each merit in this category gives you a 5% chance to cast ninjutsu without the use of a ninja tool. If you put 5 merits into this, you can increase the activation rate to a maximum of 25%. The use of Yonin also grants you a 10 to 30% ninja tool expertise effect. You can also wear Mochitsu Tekko +3 when casting ninjutsu, which will increase the activation rate of this another 38%. However, these gloves do not have any magic attack or fast cast on them, and has fairly low magic accuracy, so I do not recommend you do this. You can also increase the activation rate a further 5% if you are using the Shiga Katana. This katana certainly has its uses, so as long as you're taking advantage of the extra accuracy and damage reduction, then this is a nice added benefit to using Shigi. So in the end, this trait just helps you save some gil, but it is at a pretty substantial hit to your DPS if you've used your merits on this as opposed to other categories, so I recommend you just don't even bother with this trait. At level 5, Ninja gets Stealth, and then finally at level 86 it gets upgraded to Stealth 2. The idea is that each enemy checks for whether or not anything is within its aggro range approximately once per second. Ninja's stealth ability gives you a chance to remain undetected during this detection window every second, on sound mobs only. Sadly, I found this rarely activates, as it normally takes more than 1 second to get through a mob's sound detection zone, so even if stealth happens to proc for the first check, it's very doubtful it will proc again. I tried to get on video an instance of this trait activating and actually helping me, and I simply couldn't do it, so sadly, I just have to say that this trait overall is not useful, and it definitely is not reliable in any way. The next trait we will cover is Resist Bind. Ninja gets a boost to this trait on levels 10, 30, 50, 70, and the last one at 90. It is difficult to measure this trait, but the present thoughts are that each tier gives you approximately 5% chance to completely resist any form of bind. So at tier 5, the activation should be around 25%. Resisting bind can occasionally be beneficial, but in general, this is the last thing Ninja needed help with, and a resist of any other trait would have been better. That's it for Ninja job traits. Now let's move on to the Ninja job abilities. The first job ability that Ninja gets access to at level 1 is its SP ability, Mijingaokri. This is sadly the most useless SP ability in the game, as it sacrifices your life to deal a small amount of damage. It normally deals approximately 50% of your current hit point total in damage, but can vary anywhere from 5 to 80% of your current hit point total depending on resistances and other factors. Since it's our SP ability, it has a 1 hour cooldown timer, and it's 45-minute timer if you have mastered the ninja job. You can increase the damage this does through job point ranks. Each rank increases the damage done by 3% for a total of a 60% increase. You can further increase the damage by equipping Mochishi Hakama plus 3 before you use the ability, which will increase your damage an additional 50%. So all added together, you should normally be able to do 160% of your hit point total in damage, or about 3 to 5k. The most useful purpose for this ability is to clear weakness. You will not be weakened when you are raised after Mijingaokri, so it can be used when you are certain you are about to die, or to clear a weakness from a recent death. Ninja next gets access to Yonin at level 40. When first used, this job ability increases your enmity by 30, evasion by 30, ninja tool expertise by 30%, and reduces the enemy critical hit rate by 30%. It also lowers your accuracy by 30. These numbers decay at a rate of 1 point every 15 seconds, eventually bottoming out at a minimum of 10 in all areas. This ability lasts for 5 minutes and can be recast every 3 minutes. This means if used every 3 minutes, the bonus will always be between 30 and 18. You can spend merits on this category, which gives you 50 hit points for every rank, for a total of 250 hit point bonus when Yonin is active. You can also add job point ranks to this ability, which increases your evasion when Yonin is active by 2 per rank, for a total of 40 additional evasion. The amount of enmity you will get from casting shadows is also dramatically increased under Yonin, from 106 volatile enmity and 0 cumulative enmity to 480 volatile enmity and 160 cumulative enmity. This means that simply casting shadows with Yonin up is about 25% of the volatile enmity that you get off a provoke. Lastly, you can also give yourself a 14% counter rate if you wear Hattori Hakama plus 1, or an additional 10% hit points per merit level if you wear Machizuri Hatsuri plus 3 when Yonin is active. However, there are better pieces in both slots, and I do not recommend doing this. Also at level 40, Ninja gets access to Inin. Inin isn't as useful to Ninja as Yonin, but it can provide good benefits to DPS if used properly, so let's discuss how and when to use it. When first used, Inin grants a bonus of 30% ninjutsu damage, 30% critical hit rate, and reduces your evasion by 30. It also lowers your enmity by 20. So as with Yonin, these numbers will deteriorate at a rate of 1 every 15 seconds. The duration of Inin is 5 minutes, but you can recast it every 3 minutes, so just like with Yonin, you can keep your bonuses in that 30 to 18 range if you do that. You must be behind the mob in order to receive these bonuses, so that's important to note. You can spend merits on this category, which gives you a 1% boost to your damage on skill chains and magic burst, when behind the mob for a maximum boost of 5%. Job point ranks can also be added to increase your accuracy by 1% per rank for a total boost of 20 accuracy. Hattori Zuken plus 1 can also be used when under the effects of Inin to grant you an additional 9% double attack, and Machutsu Haburi plus 3 adds an additional 5% to your weapon skill damage if you have Inin fully merited. So these bonuses can add a substantial total to your DPS if you are fighting a mob from behind, as well as lower your enmity a good amount to ensure you do not pull hate yourself. You will find this most useful on bosses that are stable and that you can skill chain and magic burst on. This won't be as useful when cutting your way through mobs in Dynasty or Omen, as by the time you get positioned correctly on the mob more than likely is already going to be dead. Ninja now has to wait all the way until level 75 to get its next job ability, which is a merit point ability. It's called Sange, and it causes Daken to activate on every attack round. This ability lasts 1 minute and has a recast of 3 minutes. The first merit in this gives you the Sange ability, and additional merits will increase your range accuracy by 25 per merit level. This is a great ability to gain some quick TP, however, it will go through your shuriken extremely quickly, so make sure you have a macro that equips disposable shuriken and not your stat bonus shuriken for the use of this ability. Also note that you can only equip shuriken for this to work, so things like darts will not work. This ability is a nice way to gain TP, but I find it's better to spend our 10 merits in Group 2 or on other more important items, so I do not recommend you bother with this ability. However, if you do get this, the Majeku Chainmail plus 3 that I've spoken of earlier as a great TP piece also has an augment on it that increases your ranged accuracy by an additional 20 per merit level. The next job ability Ninja gets is at level 77 and is called Fute. Fute grants a 50% damage bonus to your next elemental ninjutsu by expending 2 tools. This ability has a duration of 1 minute and a recast of 3 minutes. It is one of the best ways Ninja has to boost their ninjutsu damage and should be used as frequently as possible, especially when magic bursting. You can further enhance Fute's effect with job point ranks. Each rank of a job point increases your magic damage while under the effect of Fute by 5 for a total boost of 100 magic damage. Hattori Tekko plus 1 can also increase your Fute damage by another 24% and gives ninjutsu spells an additional 14 magic attack bonus damage. Please note that there are better gloves to cast ninjutsu in when you are not under the effects of Fute, so make sure you only swap to the previously mentioned Tekko plus 1s when under the effects of Fute. At level 85, Ninja gets access to Ice Again. Ice Again increases the chance of parrying and grants an enmity bonus upon a successful parry. It lasts 1 minute and has a recast of 5 minutes. This is another infrequently used ability that is actually very useful. This is most useful when tanking a large number of mobs that you are trying to keep hate on, as all those hits coming at you will provide more opportunities for you to parry and gain more enmity. It is also useful when a monk-type mob 100 Fist to help deal with the flurry of attacks. Sadly, the exact amount that this increases your parry rate by is not known, but it does appear to be a substantial amount. Each successful parry grants you 300 cumulative enmity and 300 volatile enmity. You can further enhance the enmity that is given to you by this ability through job point ranks. Each rank gives you an additional 10 volatile enmity per parry, for a total of 200 additional volatile enmity on a single successful parry. This brings us to Ninja's final ability, Meekage. This is Ninja's useful SP ability. It grants a bonus to the number of swings your main hand does that varies with the number of shadows you currently have up. The more shadows you have, the more swings you will do. This is Ninja's Zerg ability and should be used when you need to do a large amount of damage in a short period of time. It lasts 45 seconds and has a recast time of 1 hour or 45 minutes if you have mastered the ninja job. The use of this ability significantly increases the subtle blow cap, which makes it so the enemy you're fighting won't spam TP moves on you while you're swinging so furiously at him. You can further enhance this ability with job point ranks. Each rank enhances your attack while under the effect of Meekage by 3 for a total of 60 attack. Since your shadows are what powers this ability, if possible you want to not be tanking when you use it, and you always want to recast San right before it's activated. That's it for Ninja's job abilities. I hope you found this helpful. The next video in this series will be devoted to ninjutsu magic and combat skills that Ninja has available to them. Have a great week, everyone.